the countless motivation videos online, everyone wants to be motivated because they aren't succeeding at something and they think that all they need is motivation. Well, motivation, in my opinion, is mostly innate. It's when the pain of not changing exceeds the pain of making a change, and you can't really do a lot with that other than trying to become more present to the pain of, or future pain of, not changing, trying not to block that out. But in my opinion, it's kind of useless to focus on motivation. What you should focus on is the easiest way to improve yourself. And that's done by substituting one habit for another. It's really about forming new habits, not motivation. And again, people make one overwhelming mistake when they try to substitute new habits. They don't substitute equivalent habits. And if you, for example, watch TV all day and you decide my New Year's resolution is going to be going to the gym instead, not an equivalent habit. People who are watching TV are doing it probably because they're so overwhelmed by their job that they just need to zone out. They have no mental or physical energy left. You know, people say, I'm going to go on a diet next year. I'm going to stop eating potato chips and hamburgers, and I'm going to start eating celery sticks. Not equivalent. You're probably eating a lot because you're nutritionally deficient, and if you just start eating celery, that doesn't necessarily have a lot of nutrition in it either. The habit to substitute for eating junk food would be eating healthy food, eating natural food, unprocessed food. If you're watching television, an equivalent habit, and there are many, one would be learning to cook for yourself. It doesn't take a lot of mental or physical stress to learn to cook, and now you're going to have a little more money, you're going to be a little healthier. Maybe next year after that you'll have some extra energy and you'll be able to go to the gym. Another equivalent thing to watching television would be reading about the real world, so at least you may be learning something. I heard a great video today where they were talking about how nearly every successful person has a little bit of egotism, and they write a book about exactly how they succeeded in life. All of these books are out there and no one reads them. Everyone is watching junk on television. If you just substitute the habit of reading about the real world, watching a documentary about the real world, people may say, oh, this or that doesn't work for my life. It's just about looking at your life, looking at all of your habits, and substituting equivalent habits. Another big thing people do is play video games. If you play video games, in my opinion, it means you've got some excess mental energy, and that's great because you're way ahead of people who watch TV. That's why mostly younger people are playing video games. They've got a little extra energy. If you got that kind of extra energy, you could be starting a business. And people don't do this also partially because they're afraid of failure. Even if you try to start a business, you don't make a dime, you're going to learn a lot from it, and so you've still succeeded. Things like going to the gym. How can you improve on that? Well, maybe you can start a small business where you help people move, and that way you're still getting a workout and you're meeting people and earning money. There's almost always an equivalent habit that you can substitute that is going to better you as a person and be relatively painless. Now, since people are creatures of habit, at first it's going to be a little difficult to substitute one habit for another. Even if you're eating McDonald's hamburgers and you substitute grass-fed steak, it's still going to be a little difficult because you're used to eating garbage. When I was young, I watched sports on TV a fair amount, and at one point I said, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm only going to read books about the real world or do something outside. And it was hard at first because I had the habit of watching sports on television. 30 years later, if you forced me to watch sports on television, it makes my skin crawl. I can't stand it because I've learned new habits. So that's it, the lazy person's way to almost effortlessly improve yourself. And I'll leave you with one of my favorite quotes. My friend was once interviewing a semi-famous musician and asked, how did you get so good at playing guitar? And she said, in America, it's easy to excel at anything. All you have to do is take the time that you spent watching TV and do something else.